I always share with sharing with media people. Number one, I always emphasis, stress. We are same human being. As a matter of fact, 7 billion human beings are same human being. Mentally, emotionally, physically. So that now very important. Educate people. We are same human being. If we consider we are same, then no basis of killing, bullying, cheating. If you consider others as a human brothers, sisters, and respect their right, keep sense of concern of their well-being, then there is no room to kill, to fight, violence, cheating, like that. Second, I think furthermore, all the problems which we are facing today is we too much emphasis on secondary level of differences, including different religious faith, different country, within the country. Now, for example, in this country, different castes, like that. And now perhaps, I think, sometimes it's a different party. So these are the secondary level. When we find some sort of conflict, about conflict, then think, we are same human being. We are human being of one world. That I want to share with you. Number one. Number two, I'm Buddhist. Actually, Buddhism comes from India. So I always was telling you, Indian, traditionally are our guru. We are chela. So we have some special relation, guru and chela, like that. So then, as a chela, you see, India's as a tradition, religious harmony is really remarkable. With concept of ahimsa and you see, the secular ethics, this country over, I think, 2,000 years, the religious harmony is there. According to Indian sort of understanding, secular means not only respect all religion, but also respect non-believer. That is something very unique and today's world very relevant, because out of 7 billion human beings, over 1 billion are non-believer. These also human beings, human brothers, sisters, they also want happy life. So ultimate source of happiness is warm-heartedness. So therefore, the India's concept of secularism, secular ethics, I think very, very relevant to today's world. So India, I think, living example. All major world religion traditions live together. Occasionally some problem here and there. That's I usually telling. It is quite understandable. About 1 billion human community, some mischievous people must be there. Otherwise, not a human being. Some mischievous people always there. So that's understandable. But overall picture of India, I think religious harmony, I think really wonderful. This I think you can show other outside world, different religion, different religious follower can live together. So these two, my commitment till my death. You media people also have some important role to educate through your your profession. That's important. Okay. Then third, I'm Tibetan. As far as political responsibility is concerned, since 2011, I totally, retired. Not only myself retired, but also 4th-century-old tradition, Dalai Lama institution automatically become head of both temporal and spirituality. Now that voluntarily, happily, proudly ended. Like that. So I have no political responsibility, only about Tibetan environment. I'm in a way environmentalist. So I very much concerned about environment of Tibet. Secondly, the Tibetan culture of peace, culture of non-violence, ultimately culture of compassion. It is really worthwhile to preserve. Even for long run, interest for our Chinese brothers sisters, culture of peace, culture of compassion is very much necessary. So preservation of these Tibetan culture, not only 6 million Tibetan people's interest, but interest for, I think, Chinese people also. After all, now China, around 400 millions Buddhist population. Now China become, I think, the biggest number of Buddhist population. I think like that.
In the world.
Like that. Okay, now some questions.
So talk about the secular image of India. In India, presently there is a big debate going on tolerance issue. Like Indian society and some political section, they have become intolerant to the others. So what is your take?
As I mentioned earlier, I think a few individual political interests or party politics, sometimes it happens. But that, I think, not the real picture of India, I feel. I think Bihar, if may I say so, Bihar election, I think shows the majority of Hindu people still believe harmony. Next question.
Harmony.
Huh?
Harmony.
What?
The Bihar election, you mentioned about the Bihar election and all that. What exactly you wanted to say?
Huh?
What exactly you wanted to say about the Bihar election?
That majority of the Hindus are
That is India's politics. I do not want involve that. I'm longest guest of Indian government.
As far as peace
So I never so touch India's politics.
and sir, what would you like to say about the Punjab politics?
Same.
No, recently, whatsoever happening in the Punjab,
Punjab politics must be solved by Punjabis.
which politics, sir? Can you please repeat it? Which politics?
Where?
What
What
you have
question?
used, sir? Just
Huh?
now. Wait.
Yes.
You were saying the politics. What type of politics you were saying, sir? What type of politics Punjab people are playing, sir?
I think, in my view, politics is something, a certain technique to serve effectively, through organized way to serve concerned people, not create a problem. And the religion also. Basically, all major religion carry a message of love, tolerance, forgiveness. So that's the method to bring harmony. But some individuals, the religion use for more problem, disunity, like that.
You have mentioned about the peace and harmony. Recently, there was a sense of threat to the prevailing peace and harmony of Punjab due to some disturbances and all that. But what the kind of message you want to spread among the public of Punjab to maintain peace and harmony?
As I mentioned earlier, India's 1,000-year-old tradition, harmony, and ahimsa, very important. Very
No,
important.
but that message should the government to or to the public.
Huh?
No,
Public. And the politicians or leaders also come from the public. So public should have, deeper awareness, these things. Then the leader from that kind of society, then different. Like that.
Recently you said, sir, as you said that we should respect non-believers as well. Recently, Chief of Communist Party in Tibet, he directed that Communist Party members should be investigated if they are secretly religious or worshipping the Dalai Lama. That is to purge Communist Party of.
That is not necessarily a party's policy, but totalitarian regime's policy. Communism is concerned, as far as socio-economic theory is concerned, I am Marxist. The original Marxism, in his concern, economy, equal distribution. Different economic theory, emphasis, equal distribution. I think Marxist economy alone, I think, telling that. Whereas capitalist economy, not much talking about equal distribution, isn't it? Like that. But the Leninism, Lenin, during Bolshevik Revolution, there is war, civil war. So during wartime, certain mentality developed according situation during wartime. So unfortunately, Bolshevik Revolution, eventually wartime mentality become their system, become part of their system. That's the failure of Marxism, I feel. And as Stalin, of course, very dictator, merciless leader, wartime these things happen. Not a genuine Marxist. As well as the Chinese also. During long march like that, then I think quite pure. Then during Civil War and Sino-Japanese War, again like Soviet Union, the wartime mentality then become part of their system. Then closed society, wartime, distrust, tight control, these are relevant, wartime. And then during peacetime also, then these carry continuously. So this is, I feel the Lenin, I think really destroyed the real spirit of Marxism.
Sir, as far as Tibet is concerned, two things happened simultaneously. One is directed by the Chief of Communist Party in Tibet, and the other the congressional delegation visiting from US visiting Tibet and expressing concerns about freedom of expression and
religion also. Yes, that's good. There are many friends, or many people who really showing genuine concern about Tibet, and among the Chinese also. I think, for example, last I think around 4 years, you see, we noticed, or 4 or 5 years, we noticed about 1,000 articles in Chinese language, wrote by Chinese. All these 1,000 articles all express serious concern about Tibet and fully support about our middle way approach, and very critical about the central government's policy. like that.
How much?
And I met a number of Chinese intellectuals, many Chinese, even retired officials and party member. When we met privately, they really showing genuine concern,
And,
sympathy, like that.
and publicly, no?
Publicly, you see, they can't express that.
How much, of a, how much of a threat is climate change to Tibet? How much of a threat is climate change to Tibet?
You know, the rate that become warmer as a result, the many mountains, snow mountains, now melting quite rapidly. And also, you see, many rivers and lakes also, you see, reduce their water because are drying up. And then you see, one Chinese ecologist, I didn't met, but I saw one of his article. He mentioned through years his sort of observation about Tibetan sort of ecology. Then you see he mentioned effect from Tibetan plateau to global warming. He found as much as South Pole, North Pole. Therefore, he described Tibetan plateau as third pole. So it is something very, very important. Then many Indian ecologists, experts, they say, such as the Tibetan sort of situation, high altitude, dry climate, so need special care about ecology. Then I think over a billion human beings' life. This is beyond my control. Oh, So you see, over a billion human beings' life depend on those rivers which come from Tibet, from China up to Pakistan. Almost whole Asia, you see, major rivers come from Tibet. So, although you see, these rivers come from the part of People's Republic of China, but you see, user of this water, there's many people there. So you also have certain right to express your sense of concern. Like that.
How important are the climate talks in Paris, and what would you like to see come
Very
out?
important, very important. I hope not repeating the Copenhagen sort of meeting. At that time, many people very much hoping, but actually the important nations, they consider national interest is first, global issue second. I hope now this time not that way. President Obama now I think seriously expressing concern about ecology, and also His Holiness Pope. Wonderful.
Great. Anybody from LPU? Yeah. Any question?
Do you think that
Sir, I have a question. Being the 14th Dalai Lama, have you ever thought of being a normal person?
Kasa.
Now, being the 14th Dalai Lama, have you ever thought of being a normal person?
Have you ever thought to be a normal person? Like you are.
I always emphasize I'm just one normal human being. I always stress that. Now, for example, here, when I met you, when I'm meeting you, I consider we are same human being. I never consider I'm His Holiness Dalai Lama. If I too much stress, I'm Dalai Lama. It actually creates more barrier. And finally, it brings my own heart deep inside loneliness feeling. And I feel stressed more. we are same human being. Then one human brother, one human sister. Okay, very good. Much better, much happier, isn't it? If I too much sort of stress, Dalai Lama, then on this planet, out of 7 billion human beings, only one Dalai Lama, lonely.
Sir, you mentioned about Tibetan plateau facing very drastic changes in the ecology. Is the Chinese activity responsible there for these changes?
Karsa. Even when I think during Phagwara, I think Jiang Zemin, the Prime Minister Prime Minister Dorongchin, you see, at that time, you see, one, I think, flood, it's an unusual flood, you see, happened. I think some area. So at that time, Dorongchin gave instruction or order, stop deforestation in some of these areas. But due to corruption, deforestation, at that time, quietly, continuously carried.
Yeah.
Like that.
You want to ask?
So the government level also.
I
you
think
see,
already
they-
asked one question, so let her do this.
So who will be the 15th Dalai Lama at the incarnation?
Huh?
Who will be the 15th Dalai Lama?
What?
Who will be the 15th Dalai Lama?
Somebody who
I have no concern. Even as early as 79, I formally, officially stated the very institution of Dalai Lama should continue or not up to Tibetan people. If people feel this institution no longer much relevant, then institution automatically cease.
We would like to take one
Not
last
important.
question from the media.
Recently,
Yeah, only one question.
Recently, you have today Paris attack. Terrorist attack. Today Paris terrorist attack.
There is some attack on Paris today.
Excuse me. According to you, why these type of activities are increasing day by day? Why these type of
Yes. Wait. 20th century, in spite many positive development, as a whole, 20th century becomes century of bloodshed. Over 200 millions of people killed through violence. So in human mind, some impact about this immense violence. So beginning of this 21st century, some sort of influence or some impact from that century is still going on. And then, actually, the 20th century, if we pay more attention about non-violence, about harmony, then I think beginning of the 21st century could be little different. Now still, as I mentioned earlier, unless we make attempt, rest of this 21st century also become like that. So nobody want a problem. Everyone want peaceful life. So this violence, terrorists, is short-sighted. Their emotion become out of control. Then these suicides or bombing or these things happen. So through prayer, we will not solve this problem. I am Buddhist. I practice prayer. But problem we created. So problem we created and ask God, please help. Illogical. I think if possibility seeing God, or God will say, these problems you created, you have to solve. Isn't it? So I think we need systematic program from kindergarten level up to university level, the secular ethics. That's promotion of human value on the basis of sense of oneness of humanity. if we make attempt now, within this century, different world could be. So nowadays, everybody's sort of interest and everybody of 7 billion human beings, we also have the moral responsibility. So let us try. Now I'm almost 81-year-old person. I try my best to make awareness. So you also, you see, should make attempt. Firstly, you create peaceful atmosphere within your family. Then expand more family of your neighbor and society. That's the way. All these change must start from individual. It is absolutely wrong to expect something from God or from Buddha or from government. It's wrong. We individual must create inner peace and then share more friends, isn't it? So in this respect, female, biologically, the scientists say, biologically more sensitive about others' pain, others' suffering. So in the work for promotion of human love, human affection, human compassion, female should take more active role.
Thank you.